Greetings, Bat Family. Welcome to Holy BatCast, brought to you by Real Fans for Real Movies. You can visit our website at holybatcast.com and also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast and you'll find us. If you're a big fan of the show and you want to support us, you can do that on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/holybatcast. And all you patrons, you guys are the coolest because you don't have to do it. We keep doing the show, but you do it anyway. And so honestly, I hope you know that every time I say thank you at the beginning of every episode, I mean it. I truly do. And I have to give another thank you to a new patron, Mr. William Gibson. Hi, William. William, thank you so much for becoming a patron to the show. That is amazing. It is very much appreciated. And so I hope you know you are now part of that thank you at the beginning of every episode. So William, big shout out, and this one goes out to you. Thank you so much for doing that. It really does mean a lot. So thank you to William. Thank you to our patrons. You guys make the show that much easier to do, and it is appreciated. We're a proud part of the Real Fans Podcast Network, so you can check out those shows at rf4rm.com. And as always, I'm your Bat host, Andy DiGenova. You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, or on Letterboxd. It's just my name, Andy DiGenova. Now, this episode, we're going to do something kind of fun because we got the hype train going for The Flash coming out in less than 6 weeks. It's hot Keaton summer, y'all. That's right. And so we're going to be celebrating the man, the myth, the legend, Michael Keaton. We're going to talk about some of our favorite Michael Keaton Batman moments, and it's going to be awesome. Then we're going to review the next episode of The Batman and wrap up, as we tend to do, with a couple of emails. Joining me for all this fun, he's getting ready to celebrate hot Keaton summer 14 hours ahead of the rest of us here in the United States. It's Brendan Lowe. Hi, Brendan.
Hello. Well, actually, it'd be cold Keaton winter over here.
Oh, God, that's right. That doesn't make sense.
When the movie comes out, it'll be our first month of winter.
Oh, my God, you're right. I forget. I'm so sorry. I failed you. It's got to be so weird, though, because it's like the summer movie season is such a thing here.
Yep.
And so for you, you're getting all these event movies in the middle of winter.
Which is normal for us. But I mean, we get them. I mean, the way movies are, nowadays, you kind of get them all year round anyway. Like, there can be a bit of a quiet period, in like January, February. But for the most part, there's big movies all year round.
There are. I mean, yes, the blockbuster movie season can be year round, but the summer movie season is still something of an institution, And we just did the Real Fans summer movie preview,
which was a great listen, by the way. It was really fun.
Oh, good.
I enjoyed the hell out of that.
Yeah, it was super fun to bring that little tradition back because, again, it's a tradition, and summer movie season was something we always looked forward to. And so it still means something. And I do feel like I said on that episode, this is the first summer that feels like an old school summer movie season the way it used to be pre-COVID.
Yeah, well, yeah, same for us, obviously. But yeah, just that mid-year movie season, it definitely feels like it's back with a vengeance this year.
Yeah, lots to see. It's going to be a lot, but that's okay. I can't wait. I'm excited about it.
Hell yeah.
And one of the biggest ones is The Flash. It might end up being the biggest one. I don't want to tempt fate. We don't know.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Jamie already jinxed us on the summer movie preview.
Yeah, I heard that.
Because Jamie's box office estimating is if he doesn't think it looks good, it's going to make $5. If he thinks it's going to look good, it's going to make a million jillion dollars. Yeah.
And look, so don't get me wrong. Like I love Indy. I'm looking forward to Indy, but I'm just like, Disney, you just rack up win after win after win the last decade or so. Like, come on. It's DC's turn. It's the Flash and Batman's turn.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm still looking forward to Indiana Jones, but yes, I do agree with you. Anyway, before we get to talking all that summer stuff and celebrating our man, Michael Keaton, we got to talk about your summer bod, y'all, from Manscaped to manscaped.com. So summer is coming. It is May. Depending on where you live, summer is here.
Summer's coming depending on where you are.
But I guess if you are an Aussie like Brendan, I'll try to make this. Winter is coming. So are you ready to unveil your winter beach bod? It doesn't quite work that way.
Although, anyway, you can still go to the beach here in winter. It's fine.
Oh, well, that's good. To the Gold Coast.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, Manscaped is here to ensure that your body is ready for the wild with their game-changing full body grooming and hygiene products. Don't be the guy at the beach with Austin Powers chest hair. And if you grew some winter man tits, yeah, I'm reading the same one again because it's so good. It's worth a repeat. The least you can do is make sure that they're hairless. So it's time to get ready for Hot Guy Summer. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code BATSCAPED. Again, BATSCAPED, BATSCAPED. BATSCAPED. Get that 20% off, get that discount, get your free shipping, and get yourself something nice. A few listeners just this past week were nice enough to show me on Twitter that they ordered their Manscaped. They didn't. They just showed me the product. They did not show.
Fortunately, where's this going?
Fortunately, nobody has sent me pictures of their trimmed balls, and I appreciate that, guys. I am going to take your. We're working on the honor system with the trimmed balls. I'm just going to trust that it works. It's fine. But they got some of the good products. They got the Lawnmower 4.0, and quite a few folks have reached out and been like, "Oh yeah, I ordered this. It was great. Thanks for the discount." And I was like, "Well, don't thank me. Thank Manscaped." But I'm glad they used it. Makes me happy, and I know that they're going to be happy with their trimmer. I know they are because it's great. Because I've been happy with mine ever since I got it, and yeah, all their stuff is good. And if you are one of those people, kind of like me, like when I go to a restaurant, if they have a variety pack or like a sampler platter, that's my jam because like then I don't have to commit. Manscaped has the same. They've got their Performance Package 4.0, and it's got a little bit of everything that you can try out. It has the lawnmower. It has the crop preserver, the crop reviver. That's the ball deodorant. That's the ball toner. It has the Weed Whacker 2.0, which is the nose and ear hair trimmer. You also get the travel bag. You get the boxers. The boxers, I'll be honest, I've really started, like, they're kind of my favorites. They always rise to the top.
So
They're really good.
I'm never really a boxers guy. I've always been a briefs guy, and they're, yeah, like when I got them, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to wear these. And then I wore them, and I go through, like, those three are on high rotation.
Yeah, absolutely. So you get a little bit of everything at the Performance Package, or you can go a la carte. That's fine too. Go in, see what looks good, and pick it out. And again, whatever you're going to buy, use that promo code BATSCAPED because you are helping us out. You're also saving some money, and you are getting some awesome products from Manscaped. So go to manscaped.com, do a little shopping. We would appreciate that. And I gave a big thank you to our patrons, and I mean it with all my heart. I swear to God. But I got to give an extra thank you to every one of you who has gone to Manscaped, made a purchase, and used the promo code. Like, seriously, guys, it means so much that you would do that, and because it helps us out. It truly does. Like, Manscaped continues to tell us, hey, man, like, your listeners, they support you. They buy these things. And that allows them to keep sponsoring the show. So just like on a personal note, thank you guys for everybody who has gone to Manscaped and made a purchase and used that promo code BATSCAPED. It's a win-win-win for everybody. It's a win for Manscaped. They sell you stuff. It's a win for you. You get good stuff. And it's a win for us because they know that you guys are supporting us and they continue to sponsor the show. So all good stuff all around. And a huge, huge thank you to everybody who's done that. It really does mean a lot. So thank you. We appreciate it. But go to manscaped.com, use the promo code BATSCAPED, and we would certainly appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
And while we're talking Manscaped, I can let you know too. I mean, Henry's just turned 2 years old. And he has joined the Manscaped family as of last night.
Whoa! Are you using the ball toner on his hair or something?
The crop preserver.
I mean, his head kind of looks like a little ball. All right.
No. So, like I said before, the weather's getting a bit cooler over here, and little man's getting chapped lips. His top lip's getting cracked, and it's just all the time. We get him up of a morning, and it looks like his top lip looks like asphalt or something. So
no.
I was thinking yesterday, I've got a 3-pack of the Manscaped lip balm, and I got it out of my drawer, got one of the little tubes out, and now it's in his bedroom on his little dresser table. And last night before bed, whacked it on, and this morning before we went out to the fruit and vegetable market, put it on him again. So he's part of the Manscaped family too.
Awesome. The lip balm is also very good.
Be the youngest user. I wonder.
The youngest Manscaped user. Well, I mean, yeah, maybe.
You never know.
We shall see. Yeah. The lip balm. See, I didn't know where you were going with that. Because I
It's
don't know if
almost
they
like I
start
did it on
growing.
purpose.
I don't know if they start growing hair really young in Australia, and you were like, "Well, time to trim it up, buddy. Better to learn now."
Well, you never know.
All right. Well, hey, that's enough Manscaped talk.
Yep.
But glad the lip balm is doing its job down there in winter. Again, all the stuff up here, very happy with all of it. So cool. Let's move forward. Let's celebrate the man, Michael Keaton.
Let's.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about, like, what do we do? What do we do for this week? We kicked around some ideas, and some of those ideas will come back. I promise you. And then I was like, well, man, like, we're excited about Michael Keaton. Let's celebrate his time as Batman before we get more Michael Keaton Batman. Everybody's in the mood for some Keaton right now, and as it should be. It's great. So I thought it would be fun to share some of our favorite Michael Keaton Batman moments. So let's do that. Let's kick off Hot Keaton Summer or Hot Keaton Winter down there. So you've got like Batman Returns Keaton.
Yes.
I got Batman 89 Keaton.
Which is ironic, but we'll get to that.
All right, great. Yes, let's do that. Let's talk about some of our favorite Michael Keaton Batman moments. All right, so what we did is we each came with a list of 5, and we'll just count them down and talk about them, but we've not shared our lists. We do this.
We haven't, and mine
we have not.
Is going to be controversial.
Oh, I can hardly wait. That'll be fun. But the good news is once I started making my list, it kind of spiraled, and I ended up with a lot of options. And so I got some backups in case we have some overlap.
Oh, if we've got overlap, I mean, look, we're going to have overlap, and that's fine. But
I mean, I figured, but like, you know, I still want to talk about 10 different moments. So I got some backups. Some backups. Don't you worry.
I will
I mean, 5 of them are my favorite moments from him and Batgirl.
Well, yeah, those little shots that we saw.
I just made myself sad.
Yeah. I was talking to someone about doing this last night, and they're like, "Can you use moments from the Flash trailer?" And I'm like, "I really don't think Andy would accept those."
Not yet. Not yet. Let's all in due time.
I will say though, quickly, if you wanted to touch on it, we got those 3 new posters again yesterday.
We did.
And just focusing on Keaton for a moment, that poster of him with the Batmobile. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's awesome. My phone wallpaper straight away. While I was waiting for you this morning, I changed it to my desktop background. It is so freaking cool.
I love it. No, it is. You're right. It is awesome. I love that. I mean, up until now, in all the marketing, it's been Batwing, Batwing, Batwing. And that's okay, because I love the new Batwing. I think it's beautiful. But, you know, we talked about it, I think, recently in a couple episodes of like, man, I just hope the Batmobile doesn't get shortchanged. And it's nice to see it front and center on some marketing. That's exciting. That gives me hope.
It's just, and look, I was looking at the image a lot yesterday, and it got me thinking.
This is what you do in your free time?
Yeah. You're not sleeping with it, are you, Ray? But like, it got me thinking, and I mean, we've talked about it on here multiple times. Like, the Affleck Batman costume is just like, it is ripped straight from the comic. It's perfect. And, you know, I don't know how you're ever going to top that, but I'm loving seeing the old school black rubber, the big Keaton cowl and those long ears. I'm love seeing that style of costume again. It's just,
yeah.
I don't know if it's nostalgia or what it is, but it just makes me feel joyous and joyful just seeing that, and you know, regardless of who's in it, but just seeing that type of costume again. It's like, oh my god, I thought we were past it, and now I'm seeing it. I'm like, gee, I've missed this.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I'm with you. I mean, I'm sure nostalgia absolutely plays a part, but also I think most Batman fans agree that the suits in the two Burton films look great, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that they're pretty well regarded in Batman lore. And so even though, yes, we have moved past that and we have gotten a lot of different styles since then, um, you know, ups and downs, like, yeah, going back to that, I
Yes.
mean, they worked in those movies. And you're right. There's something so cool about seeing it again, seeing another evolution of it, but still unmistakably that style. It
Yeah.
looks great.
I'm glad they
And
kind of
and
left the
yeah,
cowl alone. I mean, like, obviously there's little touches to it, but essentially like the cowl shape and everything is exactly the same. I just wish he had a gold belt. It's really the only. It's not even a criticism. It's just a preference.
I
Um,
completely agree. That is
yeah,
my one thing, and a lot of people have said that, and I completely agree. It's the only thing that keeps it from being perfect is the gold belt, and I feel like the only reason they didn't do it is to go, it's a new suit,
yeah,
like as a way to differentiate it from 89 in Returns, of like, no, it is a new suit, and here's how we tell you, because you're right, everything else looks so darn close.
mm,
But I agree with you. I'm with you on this. Um,
excellent.
right along those lines. So yes, the poster was great. It's so great to see the Batmobile. Our pal Eric Carter from The Fire Rises, he noted that the toy Batmobile from McFarlane, like the windows were a little different, and the wheels were a little different, and so there was some speculation of like, oh, like, is that going to be in the movie? But then in the poster, that was not the case, and so it's like, oh, maybe it was just the toy. Who knows?
Yeah,
I honestly, those subtle differences were so subtle that someone had to point them out, and I went, oh yeah, okay, I guess. But like for me, it was just like, it doesn't matter, it's the Batmobile. And then today there are life-size standees of the Flash and Batman that will be in movie theaters, like in movie theater lobbies.
oh really?
Yeah, there are pictures of them making the rounds on Twitter and online, and
Aaron, if
there's
you're listening.
they're so cool. um but I feel like here in the States we don't get those.
Oh
Not the
really?
not the statue ones. Not no. I can't think of ones that we got that were truly a statue. But when I was in China, oh, they were always there.
I mean, we get
Always.
the big massive ones, but I mean, yeah, Aaron's going to be better at answering this than I am, but I mean, I know back in the day for video stores, we used to get the statue ones all the time, and I know some retail stores still do when things are getting a home video release, but if they're available for cinemas, God, I hope we get them over here because yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I've
they're
already got my Keaton
they're
one, so
cool.
I don't need another one, but
Oh no, I don't think you understand. This is not a two-dimensional standee.
oh.
This is, those McFarlane statues that I bought?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
These are life-size versions of essentially those that will go in theater
Oh
lobbies.
shit. Okay, no, okay, we don't get them.
Three-dimensional.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, check the Holy BatCast Twitter because I retweeted them just going, I wonder if they'll fit in my living room.
Oh, I must have missed that. Let me have a quick
What kind of stalker
perusal.
are you? Yeah, they're awesome.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, right?
These are the sort of things that we'll most likely see at conventions.
Yes. Yeah,
Sometimes they'll have little displays, and these sort of things will just randomly be on the convention floor.
for sure.
Um, Man, that Keaton looks sick.
Well, and that's just it. Is like BVS, they had those of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and I never saw one in a movie theater. But to your point, I saw one. I saw all three in like every convention I went to that year.
Yeah.
So it might be the same. Anyway, those are some new tidbits. There's also been more TV spots, more footage, things like that. I'm trying to start to refrain. Um, Not that I think anything has been super spoilery, but there's just been little extra action beats here and there popping up, and I'm like, no, like I've already seen enough. I'm good, and so I'm trying to avoid them. But the little bits that I have seen in passing are pretty awesome too. So it's a very exciting, and like I said, we are now less than 6 weeks away.
Man, it seems. I mean, it's gone fast, but we've waited a long time for this.
Yeah. So we are getting the return of Michael Keaton as Batman now in 2023. But let's go back to the beginning when he was the big screen Batman, the only one. I know Adam West did Batman the movie in
I was just going to let it go.
1966. You know what I mean, though. Come
Yes,
on.
I know what you mean.
It's not the world we're living in now, where how many are we on?
God.
Where it was the only big screen Batman in the modern era. And so we looked back at Batman and Batman Returns, and we each picked some favorite moments. So let's get started. Brendan, what's your first favorite Keaton Batman moment?
Okay, let me consult my list here. Look, these are in no particular order, but I mean, the first one is just the first one I wrote down. And it's the rooftop scene from Batman 89. From essentially when he land, you see the shot of him flipping open the cape and landing, having the confrontation with the goons, but more importantly, ending with the famous "I'm Batman" line.
Don't kill me! Don't kill me, man! Don't kill me! Don't kill me, man!
I'm not going to kill you. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
I mean, honestly, I could have just pared it down to, that first shot of him unfurling the cape and then I'm Batman, and even cut out the stuff in the middle, because they're my two standouts from that one scene. Is, I mean, it's the first time you got to see that, like, that style of Batman move and just look menacing as hell on screen. And then the capper with the "I'm Batman" and just throwing the thug on the ground and jumping off the roof. It's awesome. It's everything you want in Batman. And I mean, that those two words, "I'm Batman," have become part of the lexicon. I mean, pretty much all the Batman actors say that now, or some variation of it. And I think
It's become such a staple.
It has,
that
yeah.
when it doesn't happen, I'm a little disappointed.
Right?
Like, at this point, I do want every new Batman to say it, because it just feels like tradition at this point, and it should happen.
I agree. And when Bale said it in Batman Begins, I was like a giddy little schoolgirl.
I mean, you often are.
Yeah, well, that's just the effect you have on me.
But you're right. It all goes back to this moment in Batman. And you're right. Like, this is the big introductory moment. And it's a hell of a shot across the bow of being like, this is what Batman is now. This is our new version, and it delivers. He looks great. It's an amazing sequence. And then, to punctuate it in the end with the "I'm Batman," and that has become an iconic movie moment, superhero or otherwise. Everyone knows that moment, and it's amazing. And to this day, now every other Batman kind of has to try to live up to that moment. So
right.
it was on my list, and then you kind of gave away that it was going to be on your list, and I'm like, well, great, I'll just move it off my list. But it is 100% correct.
It was always going to be on both our lists. Like,
I mean, it has to be.
If you want to add something else in, that's cool. But there was some that we're obviously going to overlap on, and that was a no-brainer. I'm kind of glad you asked me first. But yeah, that's. I mean, like as you said, it's. I mean, it's in the new trailer. Was it the original trailer? Sorry, for the Flash. Like, it's still there. Like, they've brought it back, and for good reason. It's the quintessential "I'm Batman," and it always will be.
Yeah, it was in every trailer, in every TV spot. It was a huge part of the marketing of Batman back in 1989.
Yeah.
So it is certainly a favorite moment, but I don't think you can get more iconic than that moment.
No, I don't think so.
All right. Excellent choice. Can't argue with that.
Thank you.
And you're also correct that, like, the first moment of him unfurling the cape is also amazing.
And the way the score, oh yeah. Oh, love it.
Yep. All right. So the first one I'm going to say also comes from Batman 89.
I will just quickly say too, I haven't got any backups. I did my 5 and I've stuck to my 5. So
that's fine. I have, like I said, as I started making the list, my list became 12 very quickly.
So if you say any that I'm going to say, I'm not changing mine, is what I'm saying.
You don't have to do whatever you want.
Cool.
Live your life. It's your life. But I more than doubled the assignment, so yeah, it's all right. I should also say that, these are our favorite Keaton Batman moments, but because some of them will be action oriented, we should note that it won't always be Keaton. It will be Keaton intercut with a
Well,
stuntman,
of course, yeah.
or intercut with Carl Newman, Ballet Bat, who we love. But for the sake of this, it's Keaton's version of Batman, even though he had
Yes.
some help in the fighting, in the stunts, in the movement. I just wanted to say that because this one is a great example. Sometimes it's Keaton, sometimes it's not. And that is the alley fight after they escape from the museum.
Excellent, yes.
Specifically, the moment where he fights Joker's goon with the two swords.
I was going to put that moment in. It was going to be specifically the swords guy.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's so awesome. And as a kid watching it and watching this guy come with two swords and Batman deflecting them at every turn, and it's purely defensive and it's so quick and it's so badass and it's so exciting. And you're like, oh, hell yeah. And then he knocks him back with his palm.
Mm-hmm.
So simply, just one move, right? He defends, and then boom, one palm. And the guy, regains his composure. He comes after him one more time, and then Batman takes him out with one kick.
Which as a kid is hilarious as well as being awesome. And how many times, I'm sure you played Batman. How many times did you mimic that? In playing Batman? Because I did it a lot.
Yeah. Oh, and it's awesome. And it's it's a play on the Raiders moment with the sword guy with the gun.
Yes, it is.
But it became so iconic in Batman that they even recreated a version of it for forever.
Yes, they did.
At the big party. It's kind of the same moment played a little more for comedy. As everything in Batman Forever is.
That one's clearly a stunt double too.
Yes. But yeah, that fight here where it's this is a guy who is very skilled. He's got two swords. Batman has no weapons, and yet he knows exactly what he's doing to defend himself, knock this guy back, and takes him out with two strikes. That's Batman. And it's so cool.
One of the most badass shots of Keaton on film to this point that we've seen so far is when the guy with the swords jumps over the fence, and the shot of Keaton turning and essentially just putting his fists up, as you said, to defend. Yeah. The look on his face and that stance that he has, it's awesome on its own. He looks so cool.
Agreed. So there you go. Batman versus the sword guy in the alley from Batman 89. It is awesome.
You know what? I'm going to move, not that they were in any order, but I'm going to move my 3 up to 2 because it kind of dovetails with what we were just talking about. And it is just a sort of a split-second moment, but it's the backwards punch at Axis Chemicals.
Hold on. Let me just move one of my.
Did you really? Did you have that one?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course. Come on. Are you kidding me?
Talk about there? A moment that you used to mimic as a kid, dressing up as Batman. And I was an only child too, so I was hiding around the corner, punching no one. But if I was in my Batman costume, you can guarantee at some point in the period I was playing in it, on any given day, I would have stood around a corner and done a backwards punch, pretending to knock out some invisible goon who wasn't there. Absolutely. And it's just so simple, but it's so awesome. And like obviously he blends into his surroundings and stuff, and the guy just does not see it coming. It's brilliant.
Yeah. I'm so glad it's on your list because yes, it is. Oh, it is one of my favorite Batman shots in anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's so badass. It's so smooth. And you're right. It's quick. It's a 1 second thing, but it's just so well shot and it's so well performed. And he looks so cool doing it. And yeah, like it is on my.
There's that little bit of smugness in his face, like
Yeah.
after he's
Yeah.
connected and old mate's hit the ground. Like he's just like, he knows what he's done, and he's happy with what he's done.
Yep. It's so great. And that was another like trailer moment because it was such a cool, great, badass thing that takes up no time, but you're like, oh hell yeah, we're in for a new kind of Batman. At least that's what we thought way back then. But yeah, I'm so glad because yeah, I just think it is one of the coolest Batman shots on film, and it's a great action moment, and it's just super cool. Cool as ice. He's got, he knows exactly what he's doing.
And the sound effect too when he makes contact, it's just it's perfect. Yeah, it's
and he even does that kind of like look down just to make sure the guy's down.
Yeah,
like
that was kind of that's where he has that little smug after. It's after the quick look down. Yeah, it's awesome. Such a cool shot.
I agree. It's a great choice. I'm with you. All right. We're sticking with Batman 89 for my next choice, and this is going to be a little different, but it is a character moment that I think doesn't get enough credit, and I think it's an underrated Batman moment, especially in the Burton films, and that is Bruce's first conversation with Vicky and Knox at the benefit.
6 is good.
6 is good. 6 is good.
Anyway, are you going to be staying in Gotham for a while?
I'd love to. I'm intrigued by Alex's giant bat story, so I've done some...
Oh, the Batman.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah. That's a little bit late after the Warren Court of the Maltese, isn't it?
And what do you do for a living?
Well, I'm involved.
Sir, Commissioner Gordon was compelled to leave.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Very unexpectedly, sir.
Will you two excuse me?
I think perhaps this way, sir.
Oh, all right. Alfred, they need some more wine in the front room, and someone named Mrs. Daly needs a copy of the menu. Oh, and give Knox a grant.
What I love about it, and here's why it's on here. First of all, it's his first big real scene as Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
And you see him playing them.
Mm-hmm.
You see him stroking their egos, playing it a little aloof, like he doesn't quite know what's going on, right? He's flattering, he's charming, like he's flirtatious, but he's still nice to Knox. Like he's playing them as like Bruce Wayne. But he's playing Bruce Wayne as like, he's the rich guy, right? And then when Alfred shows up and he makes that turn and he's like, oh, maybe this way, sir. And Bruce goes, yeah, absolutely. And then he goes, Alfred, a lady named Mrs. Daly needs a copy of the menu and this and this and this. And by the way, give Knox a grant. And it shows how he has been paying attention and remembers everything, even some lady that he ran into on the floor of 1,000 people who needs the menu. Yeah. And so it just shows like the public persona of Bruce. And at the same time, he's paying attention to everything.
It's true. And he even notices Vicky's wonderful eye.
Yeah. Some people say she has too.
I love that line.
And so no, it's just it's such a great it's a great little character moment to show who this Bruce Wayne is and how he plays it, but at the same time, he always knows what's going on.
Yeah. No, you're right. It is good.
So
yeah.
I figured it wouldn't be on your list.
Look, the way I sort of did mine was what moments jump to mind first and foremost thinking of his Batman, but also when I'm watching the movies, what are the moments that make me sit forward a little bit or get that like, oh, here it comes, like after all these years, and that's how I did my top 5.
That is all good.
Yeah. Speaking of which, my third is the museum rescue.
Oh,
from Batman 89. From the second he crashes through that skylight, Technically, it should end when where the Joker says, "Where does he get those wonderful toys?" But I'm including the reveal of the Batmobile because that shot's just too cool. I had to have it in there somewhere.
Hold on.
Where does he get those wonderful toys?
So I guess it's kind of cheating, but not really.
Well, then I'm gonna push it just one step further, 2 more seconds, to the amazing move that Carl Newman does getting into the Batmobile. That one smooth,
That's true.
fluid motion that he told us
Very
about.
true.
So let's go all the way till they get into the Batmobile.
Okay, let's do that. So, I mean, yeah,
and I'm totally okay with that because you're right. The crash through the skylight, another completely iconic Batman film moment.
Oh, and talk about one that Schumacher took and like ran with. Christ. That's how he enters every look. You know how I feel about Batman Forever, but that's how he enters every friggin' room in those movies is through some sort of skylight.
That would be funny if that's how he came home at night. Is
Right?
he just crashed through a skylight in Wayne Manor, and Alfred's like, "Oh, I'll get the spare," and every day they have to replace the skylight.
He wants that disease to take him out by the end of Batman and Robin.
Yeah, he's like, "Thank God for McGregor,
McGregor
syndrome. I'm so tired."
But I mean, look, it's just a badass Batman moment. I mean, and again, Keaton in that suit or whoever it is that does the, the falling in and stuff, they just look so good. And I mean, you take it for granted now, but yeah, back then we'd never seen Batman do that before. I mean, we'd seen obviously the cheaper television version of it from nearly 30 years prior, but to see that, I mean, I was 6 years old and that would just make my jaw hit the floor. It's like, how does he do that? And then like obviously pulls out the gun that Joker thinks he's like, oh, he's kind of got me dead to rights, and then it just ends up being a grappling gun, which is
I love that moment too. Yeah, where he sticks it right out into his face, and those two pieces.
Yep.
And it's to get Vicky to get Vicky to safety. But it's this great little misdirect of like, what is he pointing at me? And it's just to get her out of there.
And like he says nothing except hold on. Like that's all he says through that entire scene. And just, the landing, letting go of the gun, and then that shot of the Batmobile and the music, it's just, I still to this day, that couple of minutes of footage, it just gets the blood pumping. It's really cool. I mean, if I wanted to be an asshole, I would have included the Batmobile chase too, but that's going a bit too far. But that whole portion of the movie is just awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the big 1 hour, showstopper.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
for sure. Did you ever notice that as Batman and Vicky are running out of the museum, Batman looks like he throws something back into the museum?
Yeah, I've always noticed that.
I've always wondered what the heck
I just assumed
was.
it was the whatever was connecting him to the gun.
I
thought it was.
Yeah. Well, and here's what's crazy. And, sorry for the tangent, but, when that movie came out, I got the official book of Batman, and it was all about the making of the movie. And so it was, it showed concept art and storyboards, and it had the designs, and it was amazing. It was this beautiful book. But in there was like a section that was all of Batman's gadgets.
Mm-hmm.
It included the Batarang, and it included the gauntlet, and it included the utility belt. But in there was a throwing star.
Yes, I can remember that.
And as a kid, it drove me nuts because I was like, was I not paying attention in the movie? When does he use a throwing star? And he doesn't. It's not in the movie. It must have been a deleted scene. Who knows? But for whatever reason, it was designed, it was built, it was in that book.
He throws it at the kid that goes, "Is it Halloween?"
Yeah, that's what they cut out because
yeah.
And so that was my other theory is like, was there a shot of him throwing that throwing star back into the museum to like stop one of Joker's goons? That was my headcanon of like maybe that was that moment. But yeah, it's crazy that they built that and it's not in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it happens a lot with those kinds of things, but
yeah,
I know exactly the one you're talking about.
So All right. It's a long moment, but it's an awesome moment. So I'll allow it.
Good. I'm glad.
Because you have no backup. So what else?
No.
You back me into a corner here, Brendan.
Well,
so
I'm not. No,
in an alley.
I was going to say something, but I won't.
We're gonna sword fight in an alley.
No, well, we can. And I'll take you down with one kick.
Okay, great. So, I mean, using your rules, my next favorite Batman moment is the opening credits of Batman through the closing credits of Batman. It's that moment,
Hey,
a
it
2-hour moment, No, okay. So now we're gonna jump to Batman Returns, and it's another Bruce Wayne moment.
Okay.
And it is the Bruce and Selina dance at the Masquerade Ball.
Hi. Listen, I'm sorry about yesterday, but I had a pretty big deal fall through, actually.
It's okay. I had to go home and feed my cat.
So, no hard feelings then?
Actually, semi-hard, I'd say.
Good moment.
And it's because Keaton and Pfeiffer are so good in that scene. They are electric. And it is so compelling and engrossing. And it's just the two of them dancing and talking. But like, it's hot and there's chemistry and like, it's so good. The acting between the two of them and that whole sequence is so amazing. And I just love it. Every time it happens and Selina comes down that stairwell to the amazing Susie and the Banshee song and they start dancing, I like to your point, I lean in. Because I'm like, God, these are just two amazing actors at the top of their game, bouncing off of each other in this really amazing scene.
Probably
and
at the height of their attractiveness too, just quietly.
Oh,
like they both
yeah.
look stunning in that.
Absolutely.
In that scene.
Yep. So it's a great moment between the two characters, and it is just electric acting from both of them. And when I see that scene, and again, like people have their quibbles with Returns, and some I think are fair, some I think are not, but I'm like, you watch that scene and I'm like, please look at this, the acting that's going on in this scene and try to tell me this is a bad movie. They're so
none
good.
Of them phone it in.
Oh God, no. So yeah, I love that scene, and it is one of the quieter character scenes in a big rambunctious Batman summer movie, but man, the two of them make it work. It's so good.
Look, I can't argue with it.
Good.
So my fourth, and this is just the order I wrote them down in. Again with Batman 89. So this is why I said my list might be controversial.
So do you not have any Returns?
I don't.
Oh.
They're all from 89, and it's not deliberate. Like, honest to God. And I was struggling. I even messaged, it was actually Aaron I was chatting to last night because we were just chatting and I was like, dude, I'm struggling with this list. I was just like, I have my 5, but none of like Batman Returns doesn't get a look in. I'm just like, I don't know if I should take one out or, but if I do, it's not truly my 5 favorite Keaton moments. He's like, dude, just go with your list. And I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I am just going to go with my list. But it's I obviously don't like it as much as you do, but it's nothing against that movie either. It's just, they just all happen to be from Batman 89.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how you were going to react to that.
I mean, you do you. It's all good.
Yeah, but it's like I said, it's nothing against that movie, and it's not deliberate. I just they were the 5 that came into my head. They just all happen to be from 89. But anyway, my second last is ironically the last shot, but it's Batman on the gargoyle at the end.
Mr. Wayne told me to tell you that he might be a little late.
I'm not a bit surprised.
who we know is actually Carl. We definitely know that one's not Michael Keaton. But that has always been, I think, my favorite Batman shot on film ever. It's everything. It's the music. It's the bat signal in the background. It's just that gentle billowing of the cape. I know I mentioned the music, but it's those church bells in there. Like I said, I've been watching this movie since 1990. So 33 years for me, and I still to this day, if I watch 89, I sit up that little bit straighter. You puff your chest out a little bit with that final shot, and I adore it so much. And this was like that, and the I'm Batman. When we decided on doing this, they were the first two instantly. I'm like, well, there's two straight away. Like I just need to think of three more. And it's kind of the bookend of Batman 89, that first shot and I'm Batman, and then the climactic shot at the end. It's gorgeous, and I'm so glad I have it framed, signed by Carl, just up above my desk, because I get to look at it all the time now. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous shot.
Well, like you said, it was one of the first ones that I came to mind because, like you said, it is arguably my favorite shot in the movie.
Yep.
Because it's just so gorgeous and it's such a perfect note to end the movie on. So I completely agree. I'm going to replace it with a spare, but it was definitely on my list. And it's this shot that made me do the disclaimer of like, listen, I know it's not always Keaton, but because we know it's Carl.
I didn't say anything when you said that because I didn't want to show my hand.
Yeah. Because we know it's Carl, but it is still Carl being Keaton's Batman, so it counts. But yeah, it is one of my favorite Batman shots in live action. It is gorgeous. It's perfect. He just looks exactly how he should, and it is such an amazing triumphant moment to go out on that movie on. And like you said, I'm so glad we had a chance to talk to Carl and that we both got that shot signed by him on our walls, because I would have it no other way. When he gave us the options for the different photos that he had, I didn't even have to think about it. I was like, it's that there's nothing else, because when I think of favorite Batman moments at all, any media, that's one of the first to come to mind, because it's gorgeous. It's stunning.
Yep. Had to be in there.
But I'm going to replace mine.
Sorry.
That's fine. I figured this is why I did it. Yeah. This is why I have backups. So then what I will do is, because you hate Batman Returns and don't want to celebrate it, which is fine.
Asshole.
I'm going to take one of my backups from Returns. And ironically, it is the ending of Batman Returns with Bruce in the limo in the snow with Alfred.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The Merry Christmas Alfred.
Keaton moments, not so much Batman moments.
Both. Both.
Well, come what may. Merry Christmas, Mr. Wayne.
Merry Christmas, Albert.
Goodwill toward men. And women.
It is such a difference to the ending of 89, but it is no less beautiful. Mm-hmm. Like it's, and I think part of the reason I love Return so much, and I've talked about this in other movies, other podcasts, I like a bittersweet ending. Like, I could be a depressive guy sometimes. And so like, I like a good melancholy moment. I like to just sort of immerse myself in the melancholy. And this is a sad ending for a Batman movie.
It is.
But like in a very poetic and beautiful way. So that's why it's bittersweet. It's not just like depressing to be depressing. There's something so bittersweet about it. And that moment between he and Alfred, of him being alone on Christmas, with the exception of Alfred, but still not giving up hope and looking for Selina, and that beautiful snow falling. And again, the acting between Michael Gough and Keaton, that back and forth of Merry Christmas, Alfred, goodwill toward men and women. Man, it's not Christmas until I watch that scene now. every Christmas I think about it, I will share it, I will retweet it or whatever, because it is just this beautiful emotional ending to Batman Returns. And so much of that credit goes to Michael Keaton's performance. It is understated, but it is pitch perfect. And so, yeah, I love those final moments of that film. And so, yeah, I'm gonna say the Merry Christmas Alfred moment from Batman Returns.
No, and look, that's very much a you moment. So I can understand why you've got it in there.
Right. Well, all right.
Okay, so my last one. It's not really a cheat, but you'll understand in a second. So my last choice is Batman ascending the bell tower from the end of '89. Now, I'm removing the stuff that it's intercut with like Vicky and the Joker doing the dancing and everything. I'm talking just Batman climbing the bell tower.
It can be truly said that I have a bat in my belfry. Shall we dance?
It's almost like a video game level, where like each level that he gets to, there's another boss that you have to fight before you can get to the next one. And it's some of the, well, not even some of it's probably the most brutal fighting that we see Keaton do in either of his Batman movies. Who knows what's going to happen in the Flash, but there's some punches getting thrown, and he's dishing it out as well as taking it. The moments with the goon and the bell, like the way they get smacked in the head, and they fall, like the way he falls down, and then he just keeps getting back up and coming and coming and coming, and that awesome shot of him like lifting up that trap door and just kind of the cowl poking through. Just that, we mentioned it before, but that cowl cuts such a mean figure.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
and just the way it ends really with the, excuse me, have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? But I don't know, it's so by design, obviously, like dark and gothic, and the music again, it shows how much, with the Danny Elfman score, because I've mentioned it in pretty much every moment that I've talked about. The music adds to it.
It makes so much of difference, though. Like, you're right. It's just
one of the best,
perfectly complimentary.
Yeah. Because I can watch that movie on mute, and I have had, we've done commentaries for it, and I can hear every note. I don't know many movies that I can do that for, but Batman '89 is definitely one of them. But yeah, I love every moment to the point where when I watch it, I don't like the cutaways with the Joker and Vic. I know why they do it, obviously, but I just want to see that straight as one scene, just him, ascending the bell tower, and all the challenges that he has to get there. And you can tell he's pissed and frustrated, and he's already hurt, from the Batwing crash, but he gets the job done and leaves all the goons in his dust, and it's very Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yep. That's good. And again, at that moment, once he opens that trap door and he gets up there, and you hear the "Have you ever danced with the devil" and the pale moonlight, and he spins around. It's so, again, that the silhouette of that suit is so beautiful in that movie. And that's one of the things that I think Burton did so much better in '89 than he did in Returns, is he just shot the hell out of that suit, which is ironic because it was a much clunkier suit. They improved it for Returns, but he just shot the hell out of it, so it always looked amazing on film. And the second movie, he shot it just a lot more matter-of-factly. He seemed less concerned with making sure that the suit looked iconic in every shot. Not that there aren't beautiful shots of the suit in Returns, because there are, but in '89, he just seemed so focused on making sure that suit looked iconic in every shot.
No,
and that's a perfect example.
You're right.
So, all right, great. Beaten and battered Batman making his way up the bell tower. Michael Beaton. Keaton gives beatings. All right. Oh man, I feel like we should have done more, because I think I know what I'm gonna do with my final one, but there are a couple more that I feel bad I didn't get to. All right, let's go back to 89 and another pure Batman moment. And it is a pure Batman moment with no dialogue. Well, it's kicked off with dialogue. It's the suiting up as we move into the third act.
But he's out there right now. I've got to go to work.
Oh, of course, yeah. Why didn't I think of that? Damn it! But you're right.
So we end that conversation with Vicky, and he ends that conversation with, "I've got to go to work." And then it cuts to the suit lighting up in the vault, and you get the glimpses of him putting on the suit and the unveiling of the logo, and then him in that cowl, like we were just saying, shooting the hell out of that cowl, making it look amazing, and him looking kind of up to the sky, and the light illuminates his eyes. It is just awesome. It's just purely badass.
I'm mad I didn't think of that. I'm so glad you brought it up because he's such a good, awesome moment.
Yeah, and it's pretty quick. It's, just a few seconds. They just do a couple of shots. It doesn't get too self-indulgent.
No.
But those couple shots are just perfect. And yeah, the reveal of him in the cowl looking up, we've already seen him in the cowl 50 times in the movie up until now, but still, it's this great iconic shot of him in that cowl with the light on his eyes. And you're like, oh, hell yeah. Now he's going to go. He's going after the Joker. There's going to be hell to pay. And there is. But yeah, just that amazing suiting up moment. And again, it's something that superhero movies love to do. They love to do the suiting up montage, and I'm a sucker for it every time. I don't care what movie it is. I don't care. I always like it. But yeah, this is one of my favorites. It's quick, but it is powerful.
No, I agree. And you talk about the difference between shooting the costume in 89 and Returns, and I'm not wanting to say this to frustrate Mr. Drooly, but you have this awesome moment with the costume in the vault and everything, and then in Returns there's bulk costumes on bat hangers. It's not even close to being as iconic as that scene from 89. It's
not. I still like the suiting up moment in Returns, to be fair. I still really like it.
The way it's intercut.
Yeah. Because even when he walks out of that vault fully suited up, he still looks awesome.
He looks awesome.
It's just less dramatic than what they did for 89.
And I understand why they did it. They did it to, to juxtapose the way Selena's getting ready in her car.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Ripped up costume and stuff. I get it. But in terms of a suit up montage, it's definitely a step down from what came prior.
For sure. So yeah, I'm going to go with that one. Suiting up.
I'm so mad I didn't think of it.
It's great. I just remember when Batman was finally going to be shown on TV. That was how they
end the ads. Yeah.
Yes, it was part of the commercial of whatever on the Sunday night movie. He's a Joker. He rules the night. Blah blah blah. Whatever. And it always ended with that shot from the end of the suiting up montage of
even over
Keaton
here,
in that
the
column.
commercials did the same thing. Yep, that shot would always be in there.
Yep.
And usually, this, whatever, would be the Sunday night movie, and then you'd hear, "I'm Batman." They'd work that in there as well.
Love it. So, again, I had a lot more. Some of them were more Bruce moments.
Go through them. Do your honorable mention.
All right. Well, which ones? So one of them, it feels like low-hanging fruit, but it's still badass. It's the moment of Bruce standing in front of the bat signal in Returns when the signal comes on.
Look, it is cool. In terms of logistics of just that happening and having bat signals all over the mansion, but him standing up in front of the bat signal is an awesome shot.
It's an awesome shot. That's.
How often do we use that GIF?
All the time, and that's why, because it's another super iconic Keaton Batman moment, and that's why it's on here. I did have as a backup "You Want to Get Nuts" because it's also iconic.
Well, the point again, new trailer, it's in there.
Yeah. Again, I didn't make my top 5 because I'm like, is it really my favorite? No, but it's just iconic. The first time he's sitting at the Bat computer in 89. So after he leaves Vicky and Knox, and then they show him at the Bat computer looking at the footage of Gordon. I love that moment because, again, it's such a great juxtaposition from what we just saw of him, and now he is laser focused on figuring out what's going on, and now we're seeing that shift take place. So again, he doesn't say a word, but he says so much with his eyes in that scene.
He does.
And then Bruce's meeting with Max Schreck and returns.
That's one I thought you were going to go for when it was actually the dance with Selena, but I genuinely thought that was where you were going with it.
Yeah, because it's another awesome scene. Keaton is amazing. Walken is amazing. And yeah, you get to see, and we've always said in the Burton movies, we didn't get to see a lot of public facing Bruce Wayne. We get glimpses, we get hints, but we don't really fully go all in. And this scene is kind of the exception of seeing what businessman Bruce Wayne does to make Gotham better. And that means him knowing that this other guy's a crook and he's going to stand up to him as Bruce Wayne and not just Batman. So
and he's going to let him know. He's
Yeah.
not going to hide the fact.
Yeah. So I love that. He takes a meeting just to tell him, I'm going to fight you on this. And the mayor's with me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another one. That was another great one.
No, that's a good call.
So there you go. Some favorite Michael Keaton Batman moments from the two Burton films. There were others, but that's all right.
I just wanted to apologize again. I don't want to offend any Batman Returns hardcore fans. It wasn't intentional that my 5 moments all came from 89. It was just, they were the 5 that came to my mind straight up.
It's fine. It's all good. So some cool moments there. And fun to celebrate Keaton as Batman because who would have thought we're getting it again, at least once more.
Yep. I said to you guys yesterday morning after I saw that post that we talked about before drop, I really want to see after this Flash movie comes out, and if it does the business that we hope it does, I really hope they go, you know what, let's do an Elseworlds and have that third Keaton Batman movie. Bring Pfeiffer back. Even if I don't care what, I want to see. I haven't seen The Flash, and I already want to see more. Like, the nostalgia for the Keaton movies at the moment is very, very, very strong.
Yeah, I know. I would love to see it too. And Keaton's not getting any younger, so
No.
But he looks great.
Sure does.
At his age, he does look great. So, all right, very fun. Some favorite Keaton Batman moments just to get us even more excited for his return in the cowl this summer. And for being his age, it's amazing how good he looks and how credible he looks in the trailers for The Flash. And getting some action from this version of Batman to add to our favorite moments, hopefully, after we see the movie.
Absolutely.
All right, well, awesome. 5.5 weeks to go. It's going to be terrific. But let's talk about some more Batman. Let's talk about some animated Batman. We are continuing our march through the Batman animated series, and it is time to review the next episode. Moving right along, getting very close to the end of season 1. We are on season 1, episode 12, the penultimate episode from the first season, and it's called The Rubber Face of Comedy. This one was directed by Sam Liu. It was written by Greg Weisman. It aired on April 30th of 2005, and the Joker is back. He only took 1 episode off, and he's back again because he was just there, and I feel like
he was there a lot in that first season.
Yeah, in Topsy Turvy, did they capture him? I assume they did. I think he got caught in his own card, but
possibly. But it's the Joker.
Oh well, he's out again, as he does. But this time he's got these very large, intimidating henchmen with him called Punch and Judy, and he's also got this crazy new concoction that can pretty much turn anything into putty, Joker putty. So he uses it to get through a bank vault, and he uses it to re-sculpt the face of It was Lady Gotham, right? It was kind of
Lady
like,
Gotham.
yeah, it was Lady Gotham. And to give her a Joker face. And so it apparently also allows Punch and Judy to bounce really high.
Apparently, I don't know the physics of it all, but
Yeah, the Joker putty, I feel like it does whatever the show needs it to do at any moment.
mm-hmm.
Because sometimes it like the bank vault, it like turned the whole bank vault into putty, and he could like just walk through it. But then when he sprayed it on the car and Punch and
Made it
Judy, it just made
bouncy.
them bouncy. Yeah. So well, cartoons. But anyway, he's got this. He's out there causing mischief, and the cops are mad. Chief Rojas is so mad that they look bad. They got all these people, running rampant throughout Gotham. He's got a new zero tolerance policy for any crooks, but also for the Batman. And so Yin and Bennett are back. Every time Yin and Bennett show up, I'm always like, oh yeah, them. So they're back, and Bennett is like, maybe we should try working with the Batman. He helps us. And the chief is like, no. And if you get out of line again, I'm taking your badge. So now Bennett's got something to prove. And so they go after the Joker, and Bennett goes after the Joker and ends up getting captured. He's being held hostage, and he gets sort of like the Clockwork Orange treatment, a little bit of mind control, a little bit of bending his mind. And there's a really cool like hallucinogenic sequence of what's going on in Bennett's mind while this is happening, where I thought the animation was like really cool. They did some cool stuff there. And so Batman and Yin show up to save him. Joker threatens him with the putty. He's like, I don't know what this does to a human, but let's find out. But they stop him. But the putty still smashes near Bennett, and all these fumes come up, and Bennett breathes them in. But Batman and Yin stop the Joker, and Yin actually lets Batman go because he saved Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time, because Bruce and Bennett have this long friendship, he's like, maybe it's time for me to tell him. Maybe he needs to know, because I don't want us to be in a position where we end up hurting each other. And Alfred's all for it. He's like, yes, he can be trusted.
Like he wants to bring him into the fold.
Yeah. And but Bruce keeps he keeps missing his chance, so he doesn't get a chance to tell him throughout the episode. But Bennett goes on suspension because he's had it up to here with the chief, and he embarrasses the chief in front of the press by going, Batman helped us. We're just playing cleanup like we always do. And so the chief suspends him, and he's not feeling well. And so he and Bruce make plans, but as he's not feeling well, he looks in the mirror and his face starts to melt because of the putty fumes that he breathed in. And it ends with a to be continued. So, the rubber face of comedy, Brendan, what'd you think?
Well, I mean, I obviously knew where this was going and have since the start of the season. Did you remember this?
I remembered Bennett's fate.
Okay.
I didn't remember how it happened.
Fair enough. I mean, are we talking about the fate? Because
it's
kind of.
I think it's pretty safe to say, because anyone who knows Batman, and there is something called Joker putty, and a character breathes it in and his face starts melting, I think you can kind of put two and two together and figure out who that character ends up becoming.
Yeah. And look, I'll be completely honest. I like what they did with the Bruce Bennett relationship, because, I mean, it's quite evident who they're substituting the character for. And it's because they weren't allowed to use Harvey Dent. Like, plain and simple. Like, I read it then, I've read it years since. Like, they weren't allowed to use the Harvey Dent character because Warner Brothers wanted to save him for big screen live action stuff. You can't get away with not using the Joker in a cartoon, and I think that's part of the reason why the Joker in this show is so extreme. You're not going to have any, not that you would anyway, but this is the old Warner Brothers we're talking about. You're not going to have any brand confusion anyway with a cartoon Joker and a live action Joker. But yeah, like, they've substituted Two-Face and Harvey Dent for Bennett and Clayface, and I kind of like it, to be perfectly honest. I like that that's where this story's been leading. As for the episode, aside from the cartoon logic of the Joker putty stuff, like, I think the scheme of Joker, like changing the face of Lady Gotham, it seems like it's something that would be out of the like the Casey Kasem Batman series. Like it seems like something the Joker would do in that show. But I'm okay with that. Like I kind of like the old school, he's just causing hijinks type stuff, because that's what the Joker used to do, you know?
Yeah.
So I can't even complain about that. Like, I think it's a solid episode. Knowing where where it leaves you, it's pretty, as you said, it's pretty obvious where it's going. And, you know, it is a two-part, again, like how they introduced Two-Face in the animated series, but they're doing it with Clayface here. It's a two-parter. It's fun. And, like, I think Punch and Judy, a good Joker henchman. And the relationship stuff with Bruce and Bennett, and Bruce wanting to bring him in, and just, we're talking about Batman 89. It's kind of like when he's wanting to tell Vicky that he's Batman, he just keeps getting interrupted. Like he can't get the words out, and it doesn't look like he ever will, unfortunately. And I mean, this also, I don't want to spoil anything, but this also starts a relationship between Batman and Yin that will become more of a thing as the show goes on as well. Because Bennett won't be around. Spoiler alert.
God, I don't remember that either. But I mean, that's why we're rewatching it. That'll be part of the fun. It's because there's a bunch of stuff I remember, and there's a bunch of stuff I don't.
Yeah, so I think it's a solid episode. I think it's I'm going to go with like a B+.
All right, great. I mean, I agree with you. I think it's a really good episode. I think these last couple have been pretty darn good. It's been nice. It is starting to find its groove. And so I really had a good time with it. I liked the idea of Joker causing more mischief. Like you said, what he's up to feels very Joker-y. Is this the first time we see him in a suit?
Potentially, because he's kind of been the like the dangly straitjacket in the past, hasn't
it? It's been more. In this one, he's in a suit. He still has the bare feet. Yeah, still no shoes, but he's got a suit.
I think he's got spats on though, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. And like, even just in a suit, it's amazing what a difference it makes. Like he looks good. And yeah, so I really appreciate that. Like you said, I think Punch and Judy are great henchmen. They're cool. They're fun. They're scary. So I really like that as well. And so it's a good one. And the way I forgot that the Joker was part of what happens to Bennett. And I think that's a really fun thing too, is the Joker's got this new tool at his disposal. And that's what ends up dooming Bennett along the way. Mm-hmm. And Bennett and the police force coming to a head. And then, you know, the friendship with Bruce and how that's going to evolve. I think it's all done really well. I really like this one too. And like you said, I have no issue with turning Bennett into this series' Clayface. Mm-hmm. That doesn't bother me. Especially because I think we talked about a couple episodes ago when the Clayface rumors came out of like, there are so many versions of Clayface. What's one more?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, like of all the characters you can play with and do something completely different with, Clayface is a great choice because he's already got 50 different origins. Maybe not 50, maybe 8, but still. The point is there's a lot of versions. Look, so why not?
I'll be completely honest. This is one of my favorite backstories for the character.
Okay.
I really like it. But I mean, I guess in reversing that too, I because you kind of do, like they've built that relationship with Bruce and Bennett. You see it from the pilot episode, like they have been friends all through, you know, college and growing up and everything. There's a genuine relationship there. I would have loved to have seen what they did with Dent and Two-Face in this show. If I could swap out the Bennett character for Dent and Clayface for Two-Face, I would, because Clayface, he's a character I can take or leave. I don't have strong feelings one way or another about the character. But yeah, I think the fact that it's like it's the Harvey Dent factor of the backstory of Clayface in this. I give a damn about the character in this one, and he's not just a villain of the week that's an actor who wears screwed up makeup or something. Like I actually give a damn what happens to Bennett, and in turn, I care about the character of Clayface in this series, and that's probably why it's my favorite.
No, I agree with you. I think that's a great point too, is that you're right. At this point, even though Yin and Bennett have been kind of in and out, you still like Bennett and you care about him.
Mm-hmm.
It's never made sense to me that they couldn't use Harvey Dent, because like they could use everyone else. Like, why of all the characters to take off the table, why Two-Face?
And it's
super
one of those
weird.
things, because if you believe Nolan of like, you know, he didn't have plans for a sequel after Batman Begins. Well, clearly Warner Brothers did. I mean, because this was being released sort of concurrently with the making of Batman Begins. So Warner Brothers knew they had another Batman franchise on the horizon. So whether Nolan was going to be part of it or not moving forward, clearly they had plans. And again, it was the whole. I'm glad they don't do it anymore. But you know, they just wouldn't let you use Two-Face in a cartoon because they might want to use him in a future movie. Like, that's ridiculous. But
I know, and that's why it's so weird. Is so this episode aired like 2 months before Batman Begins, but there's no Harvey Dent in Batman Begins. Like,
right?
It's so weird. But I don't know. Whatever. It's just crazy because everyone else is it. Well, wait a minute. Scarecrow's not.
No. And
What about Roz?
Scarecrow would have fit. No, Roz isn't. Well, not. No, I don't think Roz ever shows up. But
so maybe
Scarecrow would have worked really well in this cartoon. Like, imagine how crazy they could have gone with the look of the Scarecrow.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I remember hearing that early on, like in the script stage with Batman Begins, it was Harvey Dent as the DA. And they changed that and went, no, we're going to have this
too many characters or something.
Yeah, there's too many. We're going to have this other DA who ends up getting killed through the course of the movie. And then it sets up Harvey Dent for next time. But I know that, at a certain point in the scripting stage, Harvey Dent was in there. So if the only 3 villains who were not allowed on the show were Two-Face, Scarecrow, and Roz, there's our answer.
Yeah, it makes sense. You know what? I've never thought of that before.
Weird.
I'm just
I never had
later seasons if Roz shows up, but I don't think so. I can't recall it.
Anyway, I'll also say another thing I really liked about this is the fact that the Joker and Punch and Judy are hiding out again in an old abandoned amusement park.
It's how do they not find them?
And I'll tell you, much like a suiting up montage in a Batman movie, I'm a sucker for Joker holing up in an old amusement park. And so it was fun to see it here. And then to have the final chase through a fun house, I thought was a lot of fun. I love that too.
It made me think about this, watching it this morning, of like, people can say what they want about the movie, but the fact that we got a fun house in Birds of Prey for that,
I thought that too. Yeah,
awesome. Like,
it's one of my favorite things about that movie is that the whole climax takes place in an abandoned amusement park and fun house, which is so Batman.
Yes, it's such a cliche of that Batman and Harley and just comic characters in general. Like, there's always some rundown something that they can hide in. It's like, wouldn't that be the first place you look?
Well, I'll tell you something. Just between
Thank
you
God
and me,
there was old cotton candy on the ground.
I know. I would look for the 3-story clown holding up a sign and just go there. But if you've got to analyze the cotton candy, you do that. You do that too.
Fact over here is called fairy floss.
Oh, okay.
There's a little tidbit for you.
Great. Anyway, what I was going to say is, just as a secret between me and me, don't tell anyone. Okay. Okay. It's just us. I kind of like Mr. Freeze's hideout in Batman and
Robin. The snowy cones.
The big, huge Frosty the Snowman head.
Like
I love it. It's
it's
so silly, but yes, like it's
a 60s
it's
hideout.
the same idea, right? Yes, like,
which is funny because it was going through these not wanting to go off on a tangent, but going through the Keaton moments last night, it got me thinking of just like how Michael Uslan was so against the 60s show, and that's how we got 89. And in the space of 8 years and 4 movies, the snake was eating its own tail. It had absolutely become the 60s show again.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre when you think about it, hey?
I know. Anyway, the point is, this was a really fun episode. I liked all those things. It was a good time. I'm glad I crammed right before we started recording and watched it as I ate my dinner. It was a really good one. And so I'm with you. It's a B+. It was a good episode.
Awesome.
And then next time is part 2, because even the title gives it away next time. It's the clay face of tragedy.
Right.
So this one was the rubber face of comedy, and the next one is the clay face of tragedy.
And the irony, too, that the Joker plays a part in his downfall and then what ended up happening in The Dark Knight. Like, he takes this good cop and breaks him down.
Yeah.
Talk about
I love that also we get a flashback to his origin.
Yes.
That was surprising, but cool. Like, I appreciate that, like, they didn't go too deep into it, but at this point, even though sometimes there's no origin and there are multiple versions of the origin, but Joker falling to a vat of chemicals is a pretty safe origin to stick to. And so I liked seeing a flashback of that. I thought that was cool. So, all right, good episode. Rubber face comedy. Next time will be the clay face of tragedy. And then we're done with season 1.
Awesome.
Look at that. Productive. All right. Well, we got one more item on the agenda, and that is to check in with you guys. See what you find Feathered Finks want. We're going to open up the Wayne Manor mailbox. It's time again for the Wayne Manor mailbox.
You've got mail.
Derek. What is a letter for me?
Maybe temporary.
She wrote a letter.
You're one hell of a messenger. This is all, Master Wayne.
All right, this first email here is from Stuart from Guernsey. Hey, Stuart. It says, hey guys, I've been meaning to send this email for a while, but it keeps slipping my mind. Before my showing of Dungeons & Dragons, they showed the Flash trailer. I was surprised that it was a different version of the first trailer and it had a few extra scenes. They were short, but one of them that stood out was Keaton and a couple of Barry ones. I said to my son, that's 100% new scenes, as I'd watched the original trailer about 50 times. I went home and I double checked, and sure enough, those scenes were not in the trailer on YouTube. I was curious to know if you had seen the same one, if you've been to the cinema recently. I'm always very excited, as Amazon just emailed me to say that my McFarlane Keaton statue will be here by May 5th. Anyway, I hope you're doing well, Stuart. Thanks, Stuart. There are international trailers that do have some extra scenes. Like there was a Japanese one making the rounds that had some new stuff. Like I said earlier in the podcast, there have been some TV spots that have been peppering in little new things here and there. So I'm not surprised to hear that out there, maybe you've got one that is slightly different with a couple new things, new little tidbits. So good for you. That's great. Maybe I could do a little Googling of like, the Flash trailer UK and see if there's new stuff in there, if I could find it. But that's interesting. I hope they were good new scenes. I guess I'll say that. And enjoy that McFarlane Keaton statue. I got mine and he's a beaut. Now I'm just waiting on the life-sized one. I'm gonna send away and say, oh, it's for DeGenova Cinemas in Winter Garden, Florida.
Knowing Catherine, she'll listen to this and somehow swindle it and get it for you.
I mean, that's fine too. If that's what we do, that's okay. So anyway, Stuart, thanks for the message, and very cool that you got to see like a slightly different and updated trailer. All right, next email is from Eddie Bolton. It says, hey guys, I hope you're doing well. First, I loved the Real Fans episode, catching up on recent films a few weeks ago. We just did the summer movie preview on Real Fans for Real Movies, but prior to that, we did one where we just sort of caught up on a bunch of movies. So we talked about Dungeons and Dragons and Renfield and Plane and Super Mario Brothers and a bunch of other stuff. Creed 3. So we talked about a bunch of movies. But one of the movies that we unexpectedly talked about was Plane. And Eddie wants to talk about Plane. He said, I just thought I would share my experience going to see Plane. Our cinema in Dublin has had one screening in 4DX, so me and my housemate tried to get tickets. It wasn't possible online for technical reasons, so we went to the cinema to buy them on the day. The ticketing agent told us that she couldn't process it because it was sold out. I responded, I'm telling you right now, there is no way that Plane is sold out. She checked again. A technical issue meant that no tickets had been sold and they had been turning people away.
Oh, wow.
So we got to see Plane in 4DX, but all to ourselves. However, the technical issues didn't stop there. Whatever film they timed the chair movements and water effects to, it was not Plane. So for the boardroom dialogue scenes, our chairs were bouncing around while we were getting sprayed in the face as snow fell from the ceiling. And for the action scenes, we could have balanced a glass on our heads. It was so still. So we were crying laughing. Anyway, a quick question on The Flash. The scope for the film is so large, and the story is based on one of the most popular Flash comics. If The Flash is the huge success that we all want it to be, and Ezra's Flash continues in the DCU, where would you see another Flash standalone story going? I apologize for the long email, but I thought you'd get a giggle out of that. All the best for the summer, Eddie. Thank you, Eddie, and that sounds amazing with the really bizarre 4DX version of Plane. For anybody who didn't listen to the Real Fans episode, Plane was a shockingly good movie.
It's a good time. I didn't hate it either.
Yeah, it was pretty darn good, and that was a nice surprise. So that's how we ended up talking about it, is like, I had heard it was good, and then I watched it, and I was like, guys, this is actually pretty good. And then Jamie watched it, and he's like, actually, you're right, it is pretty good. And then, then the next person watched it, and the next person. It was nice. I feel like we deserve a cut. But I saw it at home, so I had to do all my own 4DX myself.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, so The Flash. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that Ezra's Flash continues. Where would you like to see the next Flash movie?
Well, I've got my real answer, but I've also got an answer I thought of that was like, and that one is going back and doing another movie with Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, and Gal Gadot.
And yeah.
That's my semi-serious answer. But my serious answer, I think, would probably be the same as yours, is Rogues Gallery movie, like the Rogues. That's what I want to see. Or, at least Captain Cold or something like that, but the Rogues.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it would be nice to get that Flash movie that a lot of fans have been asking for, which is a more, shall we say, traditional Flash movie of him in Central City versus the Rogues. I do wonder, though, that after this multiverse spanning adventure, will that then feel kind of anticlimactic?
I don't know.
I don't either. I'm asking the question because I can see an argument both ways.
I mean, I guess the answer to that question is going to be, what's the next Spider-Man movie going to be?
No, that's a valid point. So, yes, I think that's the way to go, is to do a little more contained Flash universe movie. I think there's a way to do it, though, and to do that, but like, let's not forget the universe hopping. So they could even do the universe hopping as like a prologue, or do it as sort of a third act. Maybe he has to. Here we go. In the Rogues is the Mirror Master, and the Mirror Master starts jumping universes, and then that's the only way for the Flash to pursue them. And so the Flash has to pursue the Rogues through universes, so that way you still get a taste of what we had in the first movie, but we get the Flash versus Rogues movie.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because the Mirror Master can jump to the mirror dimension.
Very true.
And so he could also jump to other dimensions as well. And that way you still get some of that, and you can play with that a little bit from the first Flash movie, but still make it a little more Flash focused.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I think that's what I would say.
Well, say it.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. Well, great. All right. Next message is from Chris, the Objective Geek. It's been a minute, Chris. Hi, Chris.
God. What's he got in store for us this time?
Well, I hope Chris hasn't not written, because, we gave him a little crap for always giving us really
either that, or he's
loaded
been
questions.
plotting and planning, and he's come back with a vengeance.
Yeah. All right. So here's what he said. He said, "Hey, Holy BatCast crew, I hope all is well. It's been a while since I said a question, so here's a few."
Oh, good.
Chris, we can always count on you. Number 1, James Gunn said he would love to bring some of his Guardians cast into the DCU. So what characters could you see them playing? For me, off the top of my head, Chris Pratt, Orion, Zoe Saldana, Nubia, Copper? Who's Copper?
I don't know.
Hal Jordan. So we're talking about oh my god, what's his name? Bradley Cooper? Oh, Copper Cooper. Oh yeah, Bradley Cooper. Okay, I'm there. Sorry, took me a second. Hal Jordan. Dave Bautista, Trigon. Ooh, okay. Vin Diesel as the ventriloquist.
God.
Karen Gillan as Phantasm, and Will Poulter as Superman. Number 2, I feel like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight really highlight the cape doubling as a glider. I'm very happy to see that concept come back in The Flash. My question is, are there any other ideas in DC shows or films that you feel have been underutilized besides Tim Drake? And number 3, as an anime lover, I don't really feel like the DC Direct anime-inspired films are a good representation of how good anime is. They're okay, but something like inner dialogue, heavy emotion, outrageous action, chess match-type fights. I know you all aren't into anime, and you said you've tried. I'm just curious, which anime have you tried? For those new to anime, I would recommend My Hero Academia, Death Note, and Attack on Titan. That's it. Keep up the great work. All right. Thanks, Chris. All right, let's take them one at a time. So, the casting of the Guardians in DC.
Well, I know Joe wants Batista for Bane.
I mean, that's sort of the, that is the go-to answer. So I'm going to not say that. Batista is Trigon. I really like, actually.
I don't know if I can cast all of them, but one that jumped out to me that I'd never thought of was Zoe Saldana. Like, she'd be a pretty decent Lois Lane.
Yeah. Oh, Catherine said Zoe Saldana is Poison Ivy.
That works too.
Yeah.
And thanks for
Chris well, this was like recently, like it was another episode. She's not in here. It was another episode where someone asked about who would you cast as a Poison Ivy, and we didn't have any great answers. And Catherine listened, and she goes, "Zoe Saldana. She's going to be done with Marvel." And I was like, "I'm good with that." Yeah. So Chris Pratt, Guy Gardner.
Yeah. I mean, that's almost as on the nose as Batista as Bane, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but the difference is no one else has said this.
That's true. Yeah.
I know it's on the nose, but like it's not like we've seen it 100 times.
No, and you're exactly right. The second you've said it, I'm like, how have we never thought of this before?
He also could be Booster Gold.
True, very true.
Zoe Saldana, I like the idea of her as Lois. I'd be good with her as Poison Ivy. I like the idea of making her. She could be a great Talia.
She could. She'd be a good Catwoman. Like, she could be any of them.
I like the idea of her going villain after. I mean, Gamora, I guess she started kind of villainous, but I just like the idea of if she was a Guardian, let's make her a villain in DC.
Yeah, I agree.
Bradley Cooper is Hal Jordan. Yes. I mean, he was one of the finalists for the Green Lantern movie in 2011.
He was too. Fun
fact. Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense. So if it's not that, who else could he be?
Given that it's, the same team and stuff, he'd probably end up being friggin' Batman or something, like just voicing that character.
Yeah. Who's a rodent in DC? God, I don't know if this is the best answer, but yeah, we're going off the top of our head. I mean, what about him as Lex? I think he could pull off kind of the holier than thou, smarter than everyone in the room, Lex Luthor.
Have you seen Wedding Crashers?
Yeah.
He's that was the first thing I ever saw him in, and I hated Bradley Cooper for so long because of his role in that movie.
Oh, really?
I know it's only acting, but he was such a shit in that movie. I hated him.
The first thing I saw him in was Alias. And so I always loved him because in Alias, he was sort of like the nerdy hacker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so it was so crazy when he like rose to become one of Hollywood's most famous leading men, because on Alias he was the friend zoned guy.
Oh, really? Whereas in Wedding
Yeah.
Crashers, which I think maybe might have been his first big movie, he was like the frat douchebag asshole.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he fit that so well.
All right. Batista, he says Trigon. The Bane one is out there. I've also heard people say Dr. Hugo Strange. I think that could work, especially after A Knock on the Cabin or A Knock at the Cabin, whatever it's called.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's good. He's really good in it.
He's got range.
Yeah, he just gets better, honestly. And so I could see that too, but again, that's not my idea. That's me stealing someone else's idea. So I'm trying to think of who else could I see Bautista as? I mean, if it ain't gonna
stuff like, Tobias Whale and stuff like that, but
and if maybe this is too similar to Drax, but Lobo.
Yeah. Although I have a feeling he's spoken for.
Well, we don't know that, but
Yeah,
I'm just thinking like, who is someone big, but you need a little bit of acting range. It's too close to Drax, but off the top of her head,
I can see it. It's not a bad pull.
Yeah. Vin Diesel. Anyone jump to mind for you?
I am not a Vin Diesel guy. I mean, I don't know if you'd have the range to pull it off, but like Mr. Freeze, maybe. Look,
I could see Bautista as Mr. Freeze. Actually,
look, I could see Batista as Mr. Freeze, and maybe just use Vin Diesel as the voice, like his Iron Giant type voice. Like,
yeah,
I'm not a Vin Diesel fan, which is part of the reason why I've never seen a second of a Fast and the Furious movie. He's not for me.
I was thinking like Clayface. Maybe because we were just talking Clayface.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Karen Gillan.
I mean, she'd be a good Lois Lane as well.
Yeah.
Want to go something different though? Vicky Vale, who I think is long overdue for a comeback. The character of Vicky Vale.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I have a better answer than that. I'd be good with either of those, Lois or Vicky. Again, I'm thinking of Poison Ivy, but that's just because of the red hair. I'll admit it.
That's why I didn't jump into it before.
Yep, I know. Maybe Lex Luthor because she shaved her head as Nebula. True. So only actors with shaved heads can play Lex Luthor, guys. I don't have a better
Batista.
Yeah, honestly, I think he could do it.
Good.
I don't think I have a better answer for Karen right now. Sorry about it. I could see her be Zatanna.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Yeah, I can see that. And then Will Poulter.
I mean, do you want to say Joker?
I mean, that's true. I wasn't thinking it, but you're right.
He's been fan casted as that for a long time, hasn't he?
Oh, has he?
I think so. Wasn't?
If he has, I didn't see it. I didn't know it.
Will Poulter is who I think he is, isn't he?
He was the goofy kid from We're the Millers, and now he's exactly quite handsome in his older age. Yeah,
because
like it's funny.
He originally Pennywise.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah, that sounds familiar. But it's funny because he was such a goofy looking kid, and then when he was cast as Adam Strange, people were like, "Really, this goofy kid?" And then like we see the trailer, and he's buffed up and he's all handsome now, and it's like, oh, bastard. I still feel like he's a little too young for Superman, in my opinion. So I'm trying to think of kind of a younger hero or villain that he could step into.
What about Nightwing?
Maybe a little hair action. Get him in Nightwing. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of someone else. I was trying to think
clown thing. I'm stuck on the Joker, but
yeah. I'm just thinking, who else are they casting? He's a Brit. Maybe he could be Constantine.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. I like that. And he's already got the blonde hair.
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, well, what characters do we know are coming that, like would need to be cast? And I'm like, well, we don't know if Constantine's coming, but we know Swamp Thing is coming, and so it'd be very easy to have Constantine in
True.
that. Well, speaking of Swamp Thing, that could be Batista or Diesel too. So
Diesel as Swamp Thing, yeah, actually, that's one I could probably get behind because, you know, he'd be covered in prosthetics. I don't know. It's just not for me.
yeah, fair enough. Well, there you go. There was our mini fan casting. I think we got some answers in there. It's tricky, but I think we did it. All right, the next question. So Batman Begins in the Dark Knight highlighted the cape as a glider, and so it's nice that it's coming back in the Flash. So are there any other ideas in DC shows or films that you think have been underutilized?
Oh, God. Well, I think
I will say, first of all,
in TV shows has definitely been underutilized.
Oh, well, I mean, that's not what we're talking about here, but okay. I'll just say I agree with the cape. I mean, I wouldn't say it's been underutilized because, you know, Keaton did it. I think they kind of did it in the Schumacher films, right?
Yeah, I mean, he glides down quite a bit. Like, it's not to the extent, but yeah, it's
yeah.
done.
Certainly the Nolan films really embraced it because they gave the whole rationale for how it worked, which I thought was really great.
The Reeves film overthought it.
I'm not going there. But I agree, like seeing that in the trailers for The Flash, I think is really awesome. And that makes me happy. I'll bring up something because it was something that Jamie and I discussed on the last episode. And that is the Penguin's trick umbrellas.
True.
Like that is so fun. And it is so part and parcel with that character. And I think in the attempts to serious up the Penguin, that has gone by the wayside. And I think that's a bummer because I think there's so much fun to be had with the trick umbrellas.
I don't think you're going to see it with Farrell.
I do not think so either. So
unless
yeah, like I like
a drastic tonal shift like the Burton Schumacher ones did. I don't think we're going to see it with him.
I don't either. And to be fair, I'm not talking just about Farrell. Like it was a conversation me and Jamie had of like, also in comics, I feel like I haven't seen it in a while, or even in animation. I just feel like the trick umbrellas. I mean, God, the Penguin was the main character of Gotham for 5 seasons, and I don't remember trick umbrellas there.
No,
maybe there were some, but you know, I mean, yeah, my memory is fuzzy.
I reckon Nightwing would do it.
So, yeah. So anyway, I feel like that's a piece of like Batman lore that I think that has been lost, and it's time to bring it back.
No, I agree with that. This is one of these things on the spot. My brain's just not going to allow me to think of anything. But after we record, I'll go, oh, that.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, and the only reason I thought of the umbrellas is just because it came up so recently. You're right. There. I'm sure there's a lot. I will say this. Maybe there's going to be a hot take. I don't want to piss anybody off, but it's similar to kind of our Penguin conversation. Is I miss Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn being villains.
Yeah, I can see that.
And like Harley, I'm a little more forgiving of because it's happened over years and years and years, and it sort of felt like a natural evolution. But I feel like Poison Ivy becoming more of an anti-hero came directly because of her relationship with Harley.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like aside from Catwoman, Poison Ivy was the number 2 female Batman villain. And now, and so was Harley. Anymore. Well, that's just it. And Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn were Batman's 3 big female villains, and now they're all heroic. And I'm like, no, I want to have some female villains, and you know, whatever, Marsha, Queen of Diamonds, or whatever the hell her name was, like she ain't gonna cut it.
Magpie.
Yeah, Magpie. I guess it's up to Magpie to carry the torch. So yeah, I mean, I guess you know that's more of a character thing than it is a concept, but it is something where I was like, man, like you can't keep turning all our villains into heroes because then you ain't got no villains.
No, that's a good point actually. In terms of female Batman villains, there kind of aren't any anymore.
They've all become heroes.
Yeah. Apologies for the 2-year-old in the background.
That's okay. I know how it is.
It's time for his sleep, so he's getting over it.
All good. So this is a really fun question, but to your point, yeah, we would have to think more about it and go, oh yeah, and what about this? And what about this? But it's, you know, there's some off the top of my head thoughts for better or worse. And then anime. So Chris is saying that the DC anime stuff is not a good representation of good anime. Have you tried anything else, Brendan?
No, it's one of those things. I look at it and I'm just like, this isn't for me. And I know that sounds like not giving it its due. I just don't like the style, like the art style that comes with anime, and that's a big part of it for me. Like, it's like a comic book. If I don't like the art style, I'm not going to pick it up and read it because it's just going to shit me the whole time. And that's how I feel about anime, and that's coming from just like little toe in the water scenarios of like seeing things like Sailor Moon as a child, and you know, not that I was ever really into it, but catching parts of Pokemon and Digimon and that kind of stuff on TV, it's just not for me. So I'm not going to go more into something with that art style that with just those little bits that I've seen annoyed me anyway. And I don't want it to sound disrespectful towards it because there probably are ones out there that I would enjoy. It's just the art style just doesn't work for me.
All right, fair enough. I have watched some anime over the years, and some of it I've actually liked. Like, I watched a fair amount of Dragon Ball Z because my brother-in-law is super into it, so I watched a lot with him over the years.
Sorry, that's what I meant instead of Digimon, not it's Dragon Ball Z.
Okay, so I did watch that, and that's the one I liked the most. I did like it. I watched a little bit of Ranma 1/2 because that was also something that my brother-in-law liked a lot, and so he showed me quite a bit of that. I was kind of indifferent to that. I didn't like it or dislike it. Oh man, this is really gonna get me in trouble. I've tried multiple of the Studio Ghibli movies. And I don't know if you consider that anime proper, but I've tried because they're considered masterpieces and everyone loves them. And I tried to watch it and I'm like, I just don't get it. I can't say it's bad. I just don't get it. I've watched them and I'm just like, yeah, like you lost me. I don't know what's happening. None of it makes any sense. And I just don't get it. So there's an episode of Disorder relatively recently where I think, Hunter said, well, yeah, but what about like Spirited Away? Isn't that a perfect movie? And I was like, I watched it. I thought I was losing my mind. I don't get it. I'm not the person to ask. It is not for me. And so I guess that's where I've sampled anime over the years. And then to your point,
considered watching those movies too, particularly when I used to process them at my, when we get the DVDs in at my old work, I'm like, same as you, like, these are meant to be so good. Maybe I should give these a go. But then I'm just like, there's other things that I want to watch that I know I'll enjoy, as opposed to trying something that I probably know I'm not going to.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's just it. It's because, yeah, like you sample a few and I go, and then once you realize, you know what, this just isn't my thing. And that's okay. Not to take anything away from those people who it is their thing. But when you know that, it's like, well, then I'm not going to keep watching it, because there's too much to watch. I'm going to watch things that I have a better chance of enjoying.
Well, I mean,
go ahead.
Sorry.
Well, and I was just going to say, but the irony is that some of the DC anime stuff, I haven't loved it all, but like I really liked Catwoman Hunted, so I'm open to it, and so I thought that was surprisingly good, and so it just depends.
Well, I was actually going to say the reverse of that. I mean, the fact that they can make a Batman movie in that style, which Batman, very much me, and me not enjoy that movie at all. I mean, that's kind of your answer there. If they can make an anime movie for me that is Batman and I still don't enjoy it, that was kind of where I'm like, look, yeah, this definitely isn't for me, because if I don't enjoy the Batman version, I'm not going to enjoy the other ones.
Yeah. So there you go. I've always been intrigued by Death Note just because I like the design of the Death Note character. But I know nothing about it other than how that dude looks, and I just think he looks cool. But anyway, there it is. Sorry, Chris. But again, for everybody who's out there who digs anime, that's awesome. I love it. My brother-in-law loves it. And, that's great. But thanks for the message, Chris, and thank you to everybody who wrote in. We love hearing from you guys. We love the questions. We love the curveballs. We apologize if we can't answer them all as thoughtfully as we would like, but you keep us on our toes, and we do the best we can on the spur of the moment, and hopefully it's fine. But we do love it. So if you've got messages for the Wayne Manor mailbox, you've got questions, you've got thoughts, we love to hear them. Please send them. Send them to Holy BatCast at rf4rm.com, and then we will address them in the Wayne Manor mailbox.
Can I kind of do a live Wayne Manor mailbox?
Oh, sure. We got a few minutes.
Because if I wasn't on the show, this is definitely something I would have sent in as a listener.
Great.
And you've seen it / heard it because I shared it in our group chat the other night. But Henry has a Green Lantern book. That the last couple of weeks, his Batman and Green Lantern books have been on high rotation the last couple of weeks. He's just wanted to read them ad nauseum, even to the point where I'm like, mate, can we read something else, please? But I was able to get him the other night doing the Green Lantern Oath.
That was so cute.
So I'll play it for you now. Hopefully it comes through okay. But yeah, this was Henry doing the Green Lantern Oath. I'll just start it back at the start. Here we go.
In brightest,
right,
in blackest,
right,
no evil,
just my son.
of those who worship.
It was around my power, Green Lantern space.
That's awesome.
The listeners might get a kick out of that.
That's adorable. So you don't actually have a question. You just want to show off.
I just wanted to show off. But if I were just a listener, I'd have been like, hey guys, you might enjoy this.
We're so close to getting Harley to say Batman.
Oh, really?
Like she's trying. She just can't quite get the words out. And the other day she finally got one that sounded like it, and I wanted it on video. But yeah, we keep going, na 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 Batman. And then she'll kind of go, meh meh. Like she's trying, but yeah, she's getting there. And so I'm just waiting for kind of like and then she said one 2 nights ago that it sounded like Batman. But of course we weren't recording. And I was like, damn it.
You never are.
Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be one of her first words. Right now, she's only got a handful. She's got like bye-bye. She has all done. Dad, mama, of course.
Because she's a normal kid.
But Batman, we're working real hard on
Henry is not a normal kid when it comes to speech. Like it too, he shouldn't be able to say that. Like the Green Lantern Oath, the way that he did it too. Like everything we've read is just like, he should be able to run 3 to 5 words as sentences. And like I said to his doctor at one point when they said that, I'm like, dude, he's been talking in paragraphs since he was 15 months old. Like he talks way more advanced than he should be able to. It's kind of fun, but also not fun because it's just like, can you stop growing up, please, and not be advanced in this regard? Because you're already growing up too fast for me, kiddo.
I know. Well, this is a Batman house, but I'll tell you, my 14-month-old daughter is currently Spider-Man.
Ugh.
And it's a lot because she is crawling up everything. Yeah. And oh my God. And so we're at the point where we are just chasing her every moment she's awake. Because, madness. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We closed the Wayne Manor mailbox. Again, if you've got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, even if it's just bragging about your kids. The way Brendan
do it.
Do it. Send it to Holy BatCast.
In our group chat, we brag about our kids all the time, and not just Andy and I.
I know, yeah. So send that to Holy BatCast at rf4rm.com. But that is where we're going to wrap up this fabulous episode. Brendan, what a night. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for celebrating the Bat, talking about Keaton, because he's going to be gracing our movie screens again before we know it.
I'm so excited.
I know, I'm so excited.
And just like in the reverse universe that I live in, what a day it's been for me.
Oh God, yeah. Up is down, black is white. Oh, I can't even.
I don't know. I have a feel. I could be wrong. I don't think this is going to be the last time we reflect on Keaton before that movie comes out. I just have a feeling there'll be.
There will be other times.
Done reviews. I know we've done commentaries, but I just have a feeling we'll wedge in something to do with those movies at least once before that movie comes out. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
I'm down. You know it.
It'd be nice to do something with the three of us.
Yeah. It'll be nice if we could get schedules aligned so we could have all three of us.
That would be true too.
I have a laundry list of episode ideas, but they're all ones I want all three of us to do. And so they just sit there collecting dust.
And you can blame Jamie's kids for that.
Yeah. Kids, man. Kids. Well, at least, I mean, she may be crawling all over everything, but at least she doesn't have extracurricular activities I have to worry about yet.
Exactly.
Anyway, where can we find you if
You
we
can
want
follow me
to?
on Twitter
Or where are you so we can avoid you?
At Lowy007 on Twitter and in the Real Fans groups on Facebook.
Awesome. I already told you guys where to follow me. So thank you as always for joining us. Thanks for streaming or downloading the show. Please do subscribe or follow the show wherever you get your podcasts. And if you love us or you love the show or you want to support the show, something else that you can do that is super simple is just rate and review us wherever you get your shows. That would be awesome. It's so easy. It costs nothing. And it's a great way to just show your support. So please do if you would, if you feel so inclined. You can go to holybatcast.com and again, find Holy BatCast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Our theme music was created, as always, by the talented Gaurav Venkateswar. You can find his work at gvtunes.com. And don't forget to check out our sponsors over at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com, and if you're going to buy something, use that promo code BATSCAPED for 20% off and free shipping. But that'll do it for this episode. On behalf of Brendan, I've been Andy. We'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Holy BatCast is not affiliated with Warner Brothers or DC Entertainment. The views and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for.
When you started the episode, I was like, gee, I wonder what music cue he's going to put in there.
Weird.